Hello, trading has closed on August the 6th, 2021. We always start with our disclaimer. Let's do that. It's my trading plan for Monday the 9th of August, 2021. Just remember, I can be completely wrong and all trades should be at your own risk. Please follow the rules of my channel. Please tell your friends. And if you like it, please tell me by clicking. Had a few predictions. We looked for a gap and a prompt move outside the day's range, so that was it. Look for the pattern with the early high, and that's here. And this is just a review of what we said. We didn't want to call the direction because the employment report response is something I can't really predict with any degree of accuracy. This is normally a bullish pattern. It rallies into the close. That didn't happen. We gapped up, closed under all these highs. That's pretty negative stuff. But when it is negative with this pattern, we typically drop down in a straight line, and that didn't happen. What really counts isn't what happens at today's close, but at Monday's open. So at Monday's open, if that works, we should either gap up smartly or drop in a straight line. It's usually with a gap. Every once in a great while, you get a small move in one direction, then a big move down in the other. Don't call me a liar if that happens, but usually there's a pretty strong gap, and there is a higher target, 44.39.19, and unless we gap down, that'll be the call. But don't forget, when you're near all-time highs, and this is a very suspicious pattern for a end of a leg right here, MEJT will almost always leave an unfilled target, so you can't really count on that. Well, during the day, MEJT said this drop isn't the real thing and that we're going to overtake this line. But again, when you're this close to an all-time high, it doesn't always work. Now, I used to be a real fan of Tom DeMark. His stuff really hasn't worked, but this is a pretty rare pattern in his work. You have back-to-back sequential sell signals. You have a 9-13 sequential sell. Then there was a 9-13 combo sell. Sometimes when you're overextended like this, according to his work, you overextend some more. So here we have a 9-13-9 combo sell. There was actually a little drop after that point and some consolidation, but now you have a 9-13-9-13 sell, and that's about as overextended as I've ever seen things according to his work. Now, throughout the rally, it used to be when you get these overextended conditions, you would drop. But when you're overextended, you don't have to correct in terms of price. You can also correct in terms of time. And that's what's been happening all the way up. I mean, you got the signal here. You didn't go anywhere for some time. You got the signal here. A few weeks later, you were at about the same price. It isn't very impressive, but it did work its way out due to time. And at the very least, that certainly is plausible at this point. It's a sign of a very overextended condition according to his work. Now, I showed this chart last week. I modified the light blue a little bit, but I didn't modify the black count. And the black count had a target of 44.39.83, which is 0.99 away from today's high. So you can count A essentially equal to C at today's high, and I changed these blue ones here to make A equal to C just a few points higher. This isn't the only way to make it work, but you can see you take the middle swing and you take its low, and you get a fib relationship between this low, and this high. So we have great Fibonacci relationships right here. Now there could be great Fibonacci relationships elsewhere too. Doesn't mean this has to be a high, but there are a number of other things we'll discuss in just a minute that make us suspicious, so that at the very least we're going to pause here and possibly correct some. Now, Norm Winsky is back this weekend. I'm going to try to record him later on today. If not, I'll do it tomorrow. Monday, I have personal business. I won't be able to look at the market during the day. I will try to do a video. I'm not certain I'll be able to do it, but these are the patterns I expect to see for next week. Okay. Monday's pattern has a really high. We could gap down. Today's pattern had neither the rally into the close nor the straight line drop we've come to expect. It should be resolved at Monday's open by gapping sharply in one direction or the other. Occasionally, and that's very rare, there isn't a gap but a slight move in one direction and a sharp reversal in the other, but in either case the move should be evident early. According to the rules, there's a higher MEJT target. Unless we gap down sharply, it's favored to print, but I'm kind of leery about it here. This wasn't very good action today. Today's rally left a lot to be desired. We gapped up at the high of day in the first 5 minutes, closed under all the day's high. NASDAQ dropped despite the new high. That's major divergence of the high. The wave count hit a target area for a possible high. DeMark's indicators flashed a major warning. Just remember, they haven't led to drops, but they've often been followed by consolidations. What really concerns me, as someone else pointed out to me, is that retail customers have been buying stock in record numbers. It's never a good sign. The retail customers, when they act with extremes, almost always are wrong. Doesn't mean it has to drop Monday, but it's unlikely you're going to have a huge rally from here. And it's pretty likely you're going to have some sort of a correction from here, even if we recover it later. There's a good chance we're near a place where the rally could pause or even reverse. I can't rule out going a little higher first. The number of times I've advised caution on this rally, and it keeps going higher, so I'm going to advise caution again, particularly if we gap down smartly Monday, if that happens. So Monday has pattern with the early high, but this should gap one way or the other. And you have numerous fib targets here, and sentiment indicators, and DeMark indicators, and divergence between different indices. Don't forget some other indices like the Russell are already have already topped out, so this can't keep going up forever when the breadth is not there. So I'd be very cautious here, especially if we gapped down. And if we did gap up, I don't think there's a lot more upside from here. And that'll be today's call.